When I was a kid, I spent a decent amount of time with extended family. One of my favorite of these houses was my aunt and uncle's. If I was ever bored, I would just ask if I could watch a movie. Opening up that creaky closet door to find a vast selection of DVDs was one of the greatest feelings ever. It felt like a whole world was at my fingertips, my tiny brain being overloaded with possibilities. It took 5 to 10 minutes with the help of a stool to scan the many shelves top to bottom until ultimately deciding on Chicken Little. I got the DVD up and running underneath my cousin's loft bed, and as fun as watching the movies was, the most satisfying part of the whole thing was pulling out a DVD from the shelf, looking at the cover art for a minute before placing it back and looking at a different one. I'm a very material person. I think most people are. Looking at a bank account with $200 is kind of depressing, but holding 10/20s in your hand somehow feels like this massive quantifiable number. Opening up that closet door, seeing shelves lined top to bottom with random movies I had never seen before was satisfying because it gave me something tangible. It was kind of empowering how many options I had. But now we live in an age of streaming. The physical media section at Walmart and other retailers has dwindled from aisles to a singular $5 bin, if that. And there's more random niche streaming services than you can count on your fingers and toes. And you know what? I just don't get that satisfying feeling that I got when looking in my aunt and uncle's closet anymore. The feeling I get while looking for a film to stream is quite the opposite. Alrighty, folks, for this next portion, I'm willing to gamble that you each have at least one streaming service, correct? Alright, so now that we have that established, we're going to play a little game. I will shout out the demographic, and if you match the demographic and have that streaming service, then you have to sit down. Alright, so coming in at number 1, we have middle-aged moms and grandparents. If you have Disney Plus, you must take a seat now. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at all those middle-aged moms. I guess I got that one right on the money. Alright, the next guess is for all the Breaking Bad fans, nearly every white person. If you have Netflix, take a seat now. Wow, look at that. Another money shot. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you have Paramount Plus, sit down. No one? Oh, we have one right there in the back. Got it with their Walmart Plus subscription, correct? Yeah, that's what I figured, because no one is willing to pay $8.99 a month for Paramount Plus. I mean, like, literally, who's watching Halo right now? Get out! That's what I thought. Alright, for the rest of you, you probably have Amazon Prime or Max, so just go ahead and sit down. Yes, that includes me. Now, I absolutely despise streaming, but there are some benefits, emphasis on the some. For starters, being able to watch a movie anywhere without lugging around a DVD player and a DVD is pretty handy. All you have to do is clickety-clank on that keyboard, type in that username and password, and nope, never mind. Your choice streaming service is asking for a one-time verification code, except it's not one time because they will show you every single time you try to sign in, even in your own home. And Netflix deserves every bit of scrutiny for starting this trend, because the large demographic of truckers can no longer watch their favorite movies on the road, where they just happen to spend a lot of their time. Okay, well, you're probably asking, at least I don't have to spend $80 on a month of cable, right? Aw, dang it! Let's do some math, shall we? $16.99 for the, Disney Plus bundle, which includes Max, Hulu, Disney Plus. Another $5.99 for Paramount, $7.99 for Netflix, $16.99 for Amazon, $7.99 for Peacock, and that's not all because we still have to include tax. Okay, but $54 is still cheaper than $80, right? Yeah, but that's only with ads. All the streaming services I just mentioned actually have a premium plan where you pay an extra $2 to $4 to get rid of ads. I think I just missed the days when you could pay for something and everything was included without, paying extra. There actually is an alternative. Most DVDs off the shelf come with a Blu-ray disc and a 4K disc, a bonus features disc, as well as some cool art cards. And you buy it because it's a movie you are guaranteed to like. Not only that, but buying the physical copy actually supports the movie even further than just its theatrical release, which Matt Damon talked about in his Hot Ones episode.
Well, so what happened was the DVD was a huge part of our business. The movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release. It would be like reopening the movie almost. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make. I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. And the idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, Yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble.
Be sure to check out the full interview in the info card above. In my last video, which you should totally check out, I went on a little rant talking about how post-Endgame Marvel has been kind of dookie. Well, wouldn't have guessed this, but streaming services have actually had a pretty big role in that. A company makes a movie that they need to succeed because as much as passion for a project is important, so is money. Let's just take The Fall Guy for example. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, two of, if not the most popular names right now at the helm of a promising movie. It has the director of 2022's Bullet Train, a well-received action mystery piece, as well as a great marketing team, showing off stunts and general mayhem and chaos everywhere they went. It was set up to be the biggest blockbuster of the year, and yet it fell short. And rather than advertising the physical release to the fans that really liked it, and maybe some that were a bit on the fence about it, they dumped it on streaming. Womp womp. Fall Guy and many other movies like it don't have the chance to break even. Instead, they drown in an endless digital sea. The studios see, didn't make very much money. We can't afford that again. Let's put all our money on a safe bet, one that everyone will watch, such as Fast and Furious 10. Original movies like The Bike Riders, The Arcadian, Longlegs, etc. just aren't being made as often because people don't watch them. I absolutely despise the mindset of, I'll wait for it on Disney+. Like, if you want to watch a movie and you want to support it, the absolute biggest way to do that is to go to the theater and pay some of your money to show them. And the next step is to buy it on DVD, physically own it. When you leave the theater, you talk about it. When you watch it again in your house, you talk about it. When someone at work asks, what do you do over the weekend? You talk about it. You spread the word about something that means a lot to you. And now that streaming is around, more and more people have these giant lists of movies they've never seen and probably won't see for a very long time. Because by the time that they have the time to get around to watching the movie, the streaming service boots it off their platform, never to be seen for months. And that brings me to my next point. Even though you pay the streaming service every month diligently, sometimes even when you don't have any money at all, they have the power to do literally whatever they want. They can raise prices, which they do drastically all the time. Even though I'm confused as to how inflation affects my music taste. They can move any film they want to at any time. The prime example of this was when I was doing a Mission Impossible marathon on my Paramount Plus account. I watched the first, it was great. Watched the second, it was okay. I couldn't watch the third or fourth because they were on Netflix for some reason, so I had to wait 2 months before they were finally put back on Paramount Plus. Then I watched the peak Mission Impossible 5 and 6, just in time for MI7 to come out in theaters. And that whole experience was so frustrating and the movies were so good, I said, you know what, I think it's worth the $35 to get a 7-pack of DVDs and bonus features, just to never have to deal with that again. And boy am I glad I did, because now I can watch Mission Impossible 6 whenever I want. Rain, snow, shine, and yes, even without internet. I can sit back in the comfort of my own home and enjoy any of the Mission Impossible films. And streaming services won't just screw you once. Oh, how silly you could ever think that. No, they'll do it over and over and over and over. I keep going over. They'll ask you for a security pin. They'll raise the price randomly simply because you logged in at a friend's house. They'll start giving you ads until you give in and pay them an extra $3 a month. They will take every single opportunity to take every single penny out of your pocket, and I hate them for it. And just to jump back a little bit, I mentioned a handful of streaming services, and by handful I mean I just barely scratched the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds of them. Some that claim to have some content, but will actually have half of the franchise in another location. Paramount Plus being a prime example of this with Mission Impossible, as well as the Transformer films. And if you ever just wanted to pick a movie, it takes 30 minutes to be like, what streaming service was that movie I was thinking of on? And then you gave up because you realized it was on none of the streaming services you have, so you settle for another episode of a TV show you've already seen twice. So let's just say you decide to go physical like I did. What are some pros? What are some cons? Well, let's dive into the other half of this video. What are the joys of physical media? Pro number 1, DVDs are a one-time purchase. You get many options, whether you want the DVD, Blu-ray with special features, or the all-inclusive Steelbook. The Steelbook has the aforementioned as well as the glorious 4K and some beautiful art, albeit the most expensive of the bunch. Pro number 2, if you tell someone about a movie, you can simply lend the disc and it's more likely they watch it as opposed to putting it on a list. It's a simple thing, but it's fun to trade DVDs with loved ones. Pro number 3, you don't have to waste your movie time picking something. A physical DVD collection is all in one place, so there's no endless scrolling through the archives of films you don't care about. Pro number 4, you get to support the artist of these beautiful covers, as well as the artists behind the films that you love. I don't know if any of you guys remember, but sitting at the DVD rental store and reading the backs of the cases was so much fun. It was like story time, but you didn't quite have to commit to the whole narrative. The words got you hyped for the film you were about to watch, and sure, you could do that on streaming, but usually the cover art fades to a spoiler-filled clip after a second, and nothing's worse than hearing a joke out of context. Pro number 5, you get bragging rights when your loser friends complain about streaming services while you sit in the room of cool DVDs that you can watch whenever at no extra cost. Pro number 6, and this is one of the most important, your collection is kind of a personal statement. A question I like to ask is, if I could watch one movie to get to know you as a person, what movie would that be? And a great way to answer that is by pointing at your collection. Steelbooks are on the pricier end, so the films that I have wrapped in steel obviously mean a lot to me. The series you have completed and the older, higher traffic discs clearly were a large part of your life. My ugliest DVDs as a kid were Thomas the Magic Railroad and Princess and the Pauper. I will passionately defend those movies till my dying breath, and the wear and tear on those discs proves that. There are plenty more pros to going back to physical, but there are also a handful of cons as well. Con number 1, watching new movies. I get it. Watching the same movies over and over can have you feeling kind of burnt out. The problem is trying to find new media to expand your interests. You can always ask friends if they have a movie that's on your watch list, but it's not very common that your close friend circle has the physical copy of it. Normally they just tell you which streaming service it's on. Con number 2, physical media gets damaged. It pains me when I go to someone else's house or a thrift store and see a DVD with smudges and scratches and Cheeto dust all over it. But I also know that as a kid, I used to smudge, scratch, and get Cheeto dust on my DVDs, so I guess I can't get too frustrated. And as much as I love the steelbooks, I absolutely despise how hard it is to get the disc out of a brand new set. Like, I shouldn't have to use 50 bajillion newtons of force concentrated at the end of one finger and then pry the disc like a teeter-totter hoping it doesn't snap while trying to watch my favorite movie. The pressure release system does wear down a little bit after continual use, but the first 5 to 10 times really make me worry about breaking it. Con number 3, physical collections take up a lot more space than digital ones. No matter how satisfying and stress-free a physical collection is, there really is no denying it takes up a lot of space. Mine requires 2 shelves right now, but is ever growing. And for those that move a lot, lugging around all those boxes might not feel worth it. But in an economy where businesses hate you just because they can, DVD prices are going down, and just about everyone is tired of extra stressors, I would say now is a pretty good time to go physical. Something that comes up a lot when talking about streaming services is piracy. Streaming films on unregistered sites is a nuisance, but I can't blame people for wanting to bypass the stressful situations that streaming services put you in. Granted, pirating sites have their own handful of stressors, but at least they're free of charge. But again, streaming doesn't help support the movie, and piracy does even less for it. I suggest that despite the few cons, physical media eliminates all those pesky stressors that come with the movie night nowadays. So if you or loved ones love movies, but are sick of streaming, I can't recommend starting your collection enough. It really is fun coming home with a new film every once in a while. It brings joy when people want to watch a movie that I own. No extra charge, no passcode, no ads. It could just be you, your friends, and a popcorn bucket. So go to the store and start your collection today.